There's a lot of things that us as Ravens fans disagree on, whether it's with play calling, it could be with coaching, it could be with personnel, it could be with the front office. It's all types of things. But one thing that I am 1,000,000% confident that everybody in Ravens flock will agree with was that was an ugly win. But I've been saying for years that I would much rather an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week. The Baltimore Ravens in this game, they even saying defeated the Cleveland Browns, it doesn't even sound right because this was tough, man. So they got the win over the Cleveland Browns. They just scratched it out, but they did it, and we love it. And I'm here to share my post-game thoughts from the game that we all watched and enjoyed, especially at the very end, once that clock hit 0. Throughout the game, it was really ugly. It was hard to watch sometimes. But the Baltimore Ravens, they got it done. We knew this was going to be a tough game for the Baltimore Ravens. Going into Cleveland, going up against a really good defense, we knew it was going to be extremely tough. I did not think it was going to go anything like that last game, 41-17. Oh, no. I would have loved that, but wasn't expecting that. I thought the score was going to be 30-15. I guess we were kind of sort of close, but no. This game took everything and more for the Baltimore Ravens to get it done. But again, they got it done. Let's start with the offense. It's the ugliest part of the game right there was the offense. The offense was offensive. They couldn't move the ball. Well, and even when they did move the ball, they could not score touchdowns. They were really struggling heavily to get into the end zone. It was so rough. It was really, really rough. Starting with Lamar Jackson. One thing that I appreciated about this game, this was not a pretty game from Lamar Jackson. Statistically, it wasn't pretty. When you watched it, it wasn't pretty. And it had a lot of different reasons. Some were because of the offensive line. It just wasn't giving them any time. Lamar Jackson does still look to be a little bit off. He doesn't seem like he's 100%. Now, he did miss practice early in the week due to a sore knee, and he said it's getting better. I wonder how much that impacted his game. But nonetheless, even games previously from this one, he just hasn't looked all the way himself this season. So you wonder what exactly he may be dealing with. But in this one, it was a tough game for him. The first interception, the pass was fine. Threw it to Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell dropped it, and then it went flying up in the air. And then, they picked it off, and that was a pick six, I think. The second interception, that was on Lamar. That was on Lamar for sure. Now, he did get pressured, but still. And he almost threw a third one. But again, even on the third one, he got pressured like right away. But anyway, on the second interception, he snapped the ball, got pressured immediately. I mean, what's new? But then when he threw the ball, it hit, I think, Roger Rosengarten, like, boom, right in the helmet. Went up in the air. And Charlie Kohler, he tried to knock the ball down, but I think Schwessinger, who is a baller, their rookie linebacker, he is a baller. He made an excellent interception on that play, made an excellent play. That Cleveland Browns defense, they are for real. They are serious. They are like that. It reminds me of the game last week. Just different. Ravens offense played it differently, but the Minnesota Vikings, their defense, they are like that. They really are. So please, I know Ravens offense was very ugly in this game, but you have to give these defenses credit because they are nice. Now, with this game, one thing that I appreciated about it was this was a game where we could say finally. And last game was kind of sort of like that too. It wasn't the prettiest game from them, but it wasn't the ugliest. It certainly wasn't the ugliest. But this game was ugly from Lamar Jackson. But I didn't appreciate it being an ugly game, but I did appreciate that the Baltimore Ravens, they still found a way to where Lamar Jackson, he didn't have to throw 4 or 5 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, he didn't have to run for 75, 100 yards. Lamar Jackson didn't have to go absolutely crazy. And he actually, again, this was not a good game from him. but the Baltimore Ravens still won. That is something that we usually can never say. Because we talk about it. We talk about the Patrick City Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Amazing quarterback, obviously, but then he has these days where he's not so amazing, but the Chiefs still find a way. We could talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Good quarterback, nice, but he has some days, a lot of games where he ain't got to be amazing, and they still find a way to get it done. But with the Baltimore Ravens, it's normally, hey, Lamar, you got to have an amazing game. You got to go crazy with it, or else we lose. This game was not that. So this showed me, while, again, I know we got a lot of complaints about the offense. Trust me, I get that, and we're going to get into that. But this game showed me some promise from the Baltimore Ravens, like, hey, we can find a way to get it done. Yes, it was against the Browns, but last week it was against the Vikings. So it's just one of those things where, yeah, we're not playing the best of the best teams, but we have seen it before where the Baltimore Ravens have lost these games, these one-score games, these close games, these games where they're not blowouts. Because we can get so used to the Baltimore Ravens hanging up 35, 40, 42 points on somebody. And like, oh, yeah, we took care of it. But what about these games where it's close games, where it's low-scoring games, where the offense is not going crazy like that? The Ravens got it done, and that was great. Looking at the run game, we see Derrick, and Lamar's numbers, 14 for 25, 193 yards, average 7.7 yards a throw, sacked 5 times. 4 of those from Myles Garrett. Oof. Before we even get to the run game, let's talk about Ravens' offensive line and how they literally had no answers for Myles Garrett. None. This man went right around Ronnie Stanley multiple times. This man's Derrick Henry. No, I'm going right past him. This man pushed Roger Rosengarten right on his behind. And I know Myles Garrett is not just one of the best players on the Browns. He's not just one of the best players in the AFC. He's one of the best players in the NFL. Offense, defense, one of the best players in the league. And one of the most consistent players in the league. And we said it going into this game. We know with Myles Garrett, every time that we play the Browns, whether we blow them out, whether it's a close, whatever it is, Myles Garrett is good for at least two significant plays, no matter how the game goes. Because Myles Garrett just one of them guys. So that's something that we just got to accept. He's going to make his plays. And he's one of those players to where it's frustrating because he's like that, obviously. But it's like he's one of them players that you know it's coming. You know it's on the way, and you still can't stop it. Reminds me like of Max. Max Crosby is another one of those guys. Amazing player. You know it's on the way, but you still can't stop it. At least the Ravens couldn't. So with Myles Garrett, 4 sacks though. That's crazy. 4 sacks. I don't even think Dylan Gabriel got sacked. Even did he get sacked once? Oh yeah, he got sacked only once, and that was it. That was it. He got sacked one time. But our quarterback got sacked 5. That's crazy. But yeah, they just didn't have an answer for Myles Garrett. And it was crazy because they tried different things. Sometimes it seemed like they didn't even try anything. But he was just having a field day out there. But yeah, that was that. Now, with Derrick Henry, something that I appreciated about this game, and you look at the numbers, it doesn't seem like he had over 100 yards. Let me know if y'all feel the same way. When you watch the game, it didn't seem like he got over 100. Obviously, that long run, that 59-yard run, that obviously set him up real nice. Because you get 60 yards right there on that one run. Oh, yeah, you get 40 yards for the rest of the game. But he had 18 carries for 103 yards. Averaged 5.7 carries, had the 1 touchdown. Now, with Derrick Henry, what I've appreciated about Todd Monken over these past couple of weeks is that he continues to not forget about Derrick Henry. Every run ain't pretty. Every run ain't even positive. Every run ain't no chunk play. Every run ain't sweet. But he has continued to implement Derrick Henry. Somebody else who we saw in this game, especially with Justice Hill unfortunately being out, was Keaton Mitchell. And Keaton Mitchell, we of course talked about the drop he had earlier that led to an interception. But he also had 6 carries for 31 yards. And he averaged 5.2 yards a carry. And his longest was 10 yards. So Keaton Mitchell, he was involved. a bit more. He was involved in a passing game too, and he was out there probably the most that he's been out there all season. But again, we know Justice Hill was out. But I wonder how they'll be when Justice Hill comes back. I did see, and just to go back to stick with Keith Mitchell and to go back to Lamar, I saw it once Keith Mitchell had dropped that pass. I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, bench him, get him off the field. Oh, this the guy who y'all wanted to see more of." Yes, it is, and we still want to continue to see more of Keith Mitchell. Did he make a bad play on that drop that led to an interception? Yes. Does that mean just because he made one bad play, you bench him and don't see him? No. There were even people saying bench Lamar and put in Tyler Hunt. I said, what? Are we serious? Bench Lamar? No. Just because he made a bad play? No, you don't do that. Especially not no Lamar Jackson. But I get it. I know people, we're fans, we get frustrated and we thinking in the moment. Sometimes we're not even thinking. We just like, hey, change this ASAP. But not with stuff like that. Anyway, again, Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 103 yards, and they just keep feeding him. So I've been liking this from Todd Monken. I've been liking this from John Harbaugh. I've been liking this from the Ravens. They keep feeding Derrick Henry. But somebody who probably had the craziest run of the day, it was Mark Andrews. I think they call it the Hurricane, because Mark Andrews spins. But that was the fastest I ever seen Mark Andrews run. Faster than back in 2018 when he caught that long bomb from Lamar Jackson against the Chargers. But Mark Andrews, that play was on 4th and 1. And I was like, okay, they doing the pole push. All right, here we go. Let's get it. And Mark Andrews snapped the ball. He faked the handoff. And then he turned around and took off. And I said, and he didn't get caught. I said, what? Where was this last year against the Houston Texans? But no, it's cool, Mark. But that play was so amazing. It really was. It was amazing to see Mark Andrews do that. It was amazing to see that Todd Monken and the Ravens offense, for them to incorporate that. They actually had variations of the pole push. We saw a variation last week where they tossed it to Lamar Jackson and he ran for a first down. Now we see another variation of it with Mark Andrews face it and keep. That was crazy, man. I was so impressed by that play. Now, I did see some people say, oh, that's a shame that our best play on offense was the Mark Andrews rushing touchdown. Yes, it is. But you got to do what you got to do to win. And the Ravens did that. There have been so many games where the offense has struggled and we don't see them come out in the win column. This was a nice one where they were able to finish with a victory and not take a L, despite the offense just not living up to standards. The passing game, Zay Flowers, 3 catches for 78 yards. And his catches were big, too. He did have one drop, and then he had one where I think Lamar just threw it too much to the outside. But Zay Flowers, he came up big in this one. He really did. So shout out. And it's like 3 catches. That's it. But they were significant catches. Mark Andrews had 3 catches for 32 yards. His catches were big as well. Like the 32 yards, they don't tell the whole story. They were first downs and big first downs when the offense needed life. Keith Mitchell, 2 for 23. Derrick Henry, 2 for 19. It was nice to see him get involved in the passing game. I like that a lot. Rasheen Ali, he caught a nice pass, quick little dump off that he ended up taking for a first down. So, see, all the running backs were getting involved in different ways. So that was nice to see. And DeAndre Hopkins had 1 for 11. Isaiah Likely had 2 catches for 15 yards. He's still been very quiet. Very, very quiet. I don't even remember the catches that he had. I'm trying to remember. I really don't. But, yeah, so that's cool, though. Ravens got the win. Offense, again, they had their issues, but they were going up against a really, really, really good defense. And see, we've had the conversation last week, too, that this offense, they're not peaking. They certainly ain't peaking. But they not even clicking all the way. But again, they still finding ways to squeak it out. They still finding ways to have some success. They still finding ways to win, and that's very important. But we do want to see better moving forward. Now, we certainly want to see better from this Ravens offense moving forward, but something that I don't think you'll see better of is these deals from Heart of the City. They have their cyber deals right now where you can get 2 hoodies for $50. That's it. You can get 2 t-shirts for $30. And for their Vengeance season hoodies that I got on right now, they got them in black, they got them in white, you can get it for $15. And for their Vengeance t-shirts, you can get them for $9. And on top of all of that, all those discounts that you already got, they are allowing you to use code Ingraven25 to get an additional 25% off your entire order. The link to the website is down in the description. Hit them up ASAP. Zach Orr, come here, my man. I got to get this to you, man. I got to give you a big hug, man. There you go. I had to give you a hug, man, because the way that you have turned this defense, and I know somebody goes, oh, it's just the Rams. Oh, it's just the Bears. Oh, it's just the Dolphins. Oh, it's just the Vikings. Oh, it's just the Browns. I get that. I understand that. And I know the comparisons to last year are going to come out, and I get that too. But it was just the Texans. Texans hung 44 on the Ravens. It was just the Chiefs. You see, the Chiefs, had their offense been, they put 37 on the Ravens. And I can never say it's just the Chiefs because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, but still. It was the Bills. The Bills be so up and down. They put up 41 on the Ravens. The Lions, who the Vikings, boy, they had them boys struggling. They put up 38 on the Ravens. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't. So I am going to continue to respect it because we've seen this same defense look way worse. We've seen this same defense just look putrid, look all kinds of bad, look all kinds of awful. And again, I do know, again, the competition hasn't been the very best, but it hasn't all been bad. It hasn't been just the worst of the worst. They still certainly had challenges thrown at them, but they've been doing their thing. So I'm going to continue to hope that they finish just like this. They keep this going. That this is the real Baltimore Ravens defense. And a defense that didn't have Marlon Humphrey today. This defense, Zach Orr in today's game, just watching how the defense plays, he has just recently, for this streak of games, he has continued to put the players in position to have success. That's one of the biggest things right there, man. Because we've seen it. We've seen the players not be put in positions to have success against these other NFL offenses that we faced. We've seen guys being literally wide open week after week after week after week after week, and it'd be so frustrating. But we haven't seen that in a while. If an opposing offense gets a big play, even a semi-big play, there's usually a Baltimore Ravens player right there on them. And maybe the Baltimore Ravens player tripped, or maybe the Baltimore Ravens player just straight up got beat. But it has not been, for the most part, guys running wide open like they were earlier this season. I talked about Zach Orr heavily earlier this season. Heavily. A lot. But if he's doing good, I got to give him his credit too. I think it's super, super, super important. And he has been doing his thing. His unit, the defense, is the reason the Baltimore Ravens won this game. Had they not been playing, had they been playing, yeah, I get it, it's Dylan Gabriel. I know he ain't been nothing special. And Shedeur Sanders came in there too. But it's important, in my opinion, that you make rookies look like rookies. And for Dylan Gabriel, they were up and down with that. Shedeur Sanders, they were pretty much up with that, the majority of it. Shout out to Nate Wiggins for catching another interception against the Browns. Loved it. We loved it. Good job, Nate. Shout out to Super Duper Kyle. He really is the best. He really is. He's a defensive player of the year. He's a defensive player of the world. Kyle Hamilton is just amazing. He almost had a pick. Just dropped it. He just jumped. He jumped in that lane perfectly when I think Shedeur Sanders was trying to throw. Oh, man. It was so nice. But the pass rush, Draymond Jones, thank you. Great job. He hasn't gotten a sack yet, I don't think, but he's been getting pressured. He's been in that backfield. He's done seen 41 around the opposing team's quarterback the past couple of weeks. Shout out to Kyle Vanoy. Kyle Vanoy been quiet this season, but today he showed up. I guess just something about these Browns. And Kyle Hamilton. Just to go back to Kyle Hamilton. Thank you for injecting more life into this defense. Because for Kyle Hamilton to get the sack and then do the Shedeur sack, I said, this is that old school Ravens Browns now. Because we ain't had nothing like that nasty be in these games. And I don't even remember the last. Well, actually against us in the Texans game. Yeah, we lost that 44-10. But that's when their rookie receiver, I think Noel, he mocked the Ray Lewis dance in Baltimore. And that's crazy, in Baltimore. And it's like the only person that stood up to him, they not even a Raven no more. That's crazy, right? But anyway, we just hadn't had something like that, and Kyle Hamilton brought it. And I said, boy, Ravens better not lose this game. After Kyle Hamilton Ravens better not lose. And they didn't. Thank goodness. It's close, but they didn't. But the defense they've been looking so much better, man. Now, the run defense in this one, Juckins, that boy is a beast, man. He is really like that. Some of the best players, in my opinion, on the Browns, obviously Myles Garrett, the rookie Schwessinger, but the rookie Juckins, he is just so amazing. I loved seeing him on the sidelines. I loved seeing him run off the field because that was one of the only ways Ravens were stopping him. What's crazy is that when you look at his numbers, they don't look crazy. Like, he had 17 carries for 59 yards, only averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Watching it, it didn't look like that to me. It looked like he had way more than that. It looked like his average was more than that. But that boy can play, man. He really can. But when the Baltimore Ravens, when they put Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel in those situations where they had to pass, it was like, okay, it's a much better situation for us as Ravens fans when they had to pass. This defense, though, great turnaround. Keep it going. Don't let up. You done had a stretch of away games. You done played at Miami. Then you played in Minnesota. Then you played in Cleveland. That's three away games straight. But now you get to go to the crib for, I believe, 3 straight games because you play the Jets, the Bengals, and I think you got the Steelers after that. So Ravens, take advantage. Special teams. Oof, LaJohntay Wester. That was tough. It's crazy because watching that live, when he was calling for the fair catch and running, I was thinking in my head, this looks bad. This looks bad. But then he fumbled. I said, oh, man. And it was when we were already struggling. I said, oh, man. But shout out to the defense. We just talked about the defense in the previous segment. But shout out to the defense because they held the Browns to 3 on that drive where they literally got the ball at, the 5-yard line. They got it within the 10. And the Ravens not at the 5-yard line. Probably a little farther away than that. But they had great field position, and the Ravens held them to 3. So that was just excellent to see. But special teams, LaJohntay Wester, he had that fumble. But after that, he didn't really do too much. But Tyler Loop, needed Tyler Loop big time in this game. Tyler Loop, let's see how many field goals he had. I know it was a lot, and it's been a lot the past couple of weeks. But Tyler Loop had 3 field goals, went 3 for 3. Now, there was one point where the Ravens had an opportunity to kick like a 56, 57-yard field goal. I didn't want them to kick it, and I'm glad that they didn't kick it. I don't think they should have kicked it. I think it was a good decision that they ended up bringing the offense out on the field. It was like 4th and 8, I think, and then offense got to delay a game. They brought the offense off the field and brought out the punt unit. So I was glad that they did that because with Tyler Loop, especially with the wind, I don't think it would have been a good decision to kick that field goal. So it worked out. It worked out. It really, really did. There was another time, one of Tyler Loop's short field goals where the Baltimore Ravens, again, on the goal line, they couldn't get it in. Couldn't score. And that's still been a big problem with this team. They're just on the goal line, them short distance, they just struggle heavily. But they took the points. I say, good job, Ravens, for taking the points. You got to. Every situation is different, but more than most times, you got to take the points. And they did that. So shout out to the special teams unit for doing their thing overall. Coaching in this game. Zach Orr, hats off. Great job. You did your thing. No complaints there. Todd Monken is up and down. I felt like with Derrick Henry, there was some plays where they were a little bit predictable. There are some times when I feel like the Baltimore Ravens should be a little bit more under center. Sometimes when you combine predictability with all these running plays from the shotgun, a lot of times they work, a lot of times they don't, but you're going up against a tough defense, so I feel like you got to be extra smart against these tougher defenses. And last week was amazing. Last week was just great job. This week is not as much, but that the shotgun runs that are so predictable, well, predictable in my opinion, it just all depends. Not every single run is predictable, but the ones that are like I think the Derrick Henry touchdown run, that one, in my opinion, that was not predictable because they went in a shotgun. I think it was 2nd and goal, and I knew they were going to pass it. I said, "Oh yeah, they're getting ready to pass the ball," and they ran it, and he got it. And shout out to Zay Flowers because Zay Flowers actually helped push Derrick Henry through. And then Daniel Falele came up right after Zay Flowers and gave him a little extra push too. Go watch the replay so you can see it. But anyway, with Todd Monken in this game, yeah, it was up and down. It was really up and down with a lot of the play calling. Some of it was execution because, again, offensive line. But yeah, so this is a tough one for him, a very tough one. And for Harbaugh, there were no bad challenges. There were no bad timeouts. Clock management was just fine. So, yeah, this was a good game overall from Harbaugh and from Harbaugh and Zach Orr. Todd Monken, again, it was up and down in this one. But, yeah, we got some work to do. And again, a lot of it is the offensive line. A lot of it is. So we just got to still figure out ways to counter that since they're not going to make any changes there. So, again, my favorite thing about this game, Baltimore found a way to win ugly. Like we mentioned earlier, there have been so many of these games where they've lost ugly. They usually get a lot of pretty wins, a lot of blowouts. Oh, they beat this team by 20, 30, 40 points. But today they had to grind it out, and they did just that and got the dub. So that makes going into the week for everybody that much sweeter. That makes going into work on Monday and in school, it makes you that much happier. So let's see how the Ravens continue this momentum moving forward.